one in the bag and think about moving on to maybe go on a run.
Also, you heard a lot of game type talk from the desk, and I think they nailed a lot of it. I think we should also mention that Best Man, we talked to Best Man earlier, he said the game types in the first series that they had against them really favored Shopify. However, here we have a lot of back and forth, a lot of things to like for both teams, and as you could tell by the analysis from the desk, it's hard to pick in this first set of games exactly where it might go just using the statistics. I think there's a few things to talk about while we load into map number one. First of all, no bomb up front. You could say good for OpTic, however, they have looked good in Arlington. Also, 2 new game types in the first 4, which could be a concern for OpTic, but Mark, you and I were talking, and I think you pointed out really wisely, they are very straightforward game types in that first 4.
They certainly are indeed. The first one going to be Slayer Origin, and then the second one's going to be CTF Fortress, so no bomb to worry about in those newer game types in this first series. And more linear game type. Slayer, we know you got to do. You got to kill your opponent, right? You go to CTF Fortress, you cap the flag. It's something that everybody is comfortable in doing, and we'll have to see if that benefits OpTic Gaming in this first series. Well, the players are loading in. The rivalry is set. The fuse has been lit even before a bullet was fired here in Arlington. But at the first major of the year, we reach our grand finals. We have Shopify Rebellion versus OpTic Gaming. It's time to get into our first game.
It is time, the final that everyone came here for. If you've been watching off-season Halo, if you've been following the drama, all the team changes, all of the bad blood, every single online qualifier, every single match this weekend, you know that it only led to 1 point. Shopify Rebellion versus OpTic Gaming, we're underway.
Here we go then, everybody. This is the match we were all desperate to see coming into the event, and this is the match we're gonna get. However, it looks like we might have a little bit of a restart.
Clearly not something that they wanted to see in terms of settings on the stage. An immediate stop there from Last Shot's POV telling us that whether it's a specific game type setting or what it might be, looks like we're going to go ahead and restart this one.
Does mean that we get to talk about the little stat that you saw at the bottom of your screen, though, which is an interesting one. Both teams undefeated on this game type to start off the series, which is kind of what you want as a game time, right? Where no team has the advantage, where both teams have that unbeaten record, and it really will be an opportunity to see 2 of the biggest teams, 2 of the best teams that we have in the Halo Championship Series really slug it out to see who even goes up by 1 in this first series.
I mean, it's perfect, and it's not surprising given the pedigree and kind of the level of competition between these 2 teams that they come into a game number 1, both undefeated, and so tightly matched even in just game number 1. Shopify, as we saw, is 2-0 in this game type. OpTic is 3-0 already in this game type on LAN play. But it's such a pivotal game 1, like Clutch was talking about. It's such a pivotal game 1 because if we look at the first 4 game types, as we would in a best of 7, that Slayer Origin, Shopify currently has OpTic's number. CTF Fortress also Shopify having the number. We'll take a look at the series layout in just a second, but really games 1 and 3 are the swing games of this series that OpTic needs to make sure they're taking just because of how good Shopify has looked in Slayer Origin and CTF Fortress.
Yeah, still one of those away, and all of a sudden you send the series a little bit deeper, then it starts to get a little bit more favorable for OpTic Gaming. You start looking at game types like King of the Hill Solitude. They've looked very, very good, whereas Shopify, not so good. You get to that Slayer live fire at the end. This is the game type that OpTic won 50-47 to complete that reverse sweep. So all of these good feelings, these good memories, they're at the back end of this series, but to get there for OpTic, to send themselves into even having a chance of resetting the bracket here and going into that second best of 7, they need, like you say, to be involved in these first 4 game types or so, to get some of those on the board, to make sure they get the chance to have a go at some of those game types later on.
Certainly, and we cannot write off OpTic out of games 2 and 4. Just to be specific, that Slayer Origin, there was a lot of talk about it on the desk, but also let's not forget, Shopify lost Origin Slayer to C9 50-40. That's a pretty big blowout at this level. So for them to have lost one of their kind of prize and favored game types with a margin like that, certainly they'll have looked at that, and I even got to talk to Frosty and Last Shot about exactly what was happening in that game type. So they'll have had a lot of time to think about that since Friday. However, OpTic can certainly steal one of these early game types, and if they start to split games around the middle of the series, as we said, once we get late into the series, they do start to favor OpTic more and more. OpTic Gaming wants this to be not only a long series number 1, but to send us also to a second series.
Also to get the crowd energy high, right? They want the crowd to be behind them, OpTic. For Shopify Rebellion, it's about keeping the OpTic crowd quiet. We're now back into the game. This one looks pretty good to me. Shopify versus OpTic. Let's get it on.
Underway here, and man, like we said, the margin's so slim between these 2 that it feels like every opening rush, every pair of kills is going to be so important. Frosty's starting to burn a little bit of ammo early on.
looks like OpTic have the beating of Shopify towards B. Legend is already trying to cap that one, and it will be B and C early on that's going to be captured by OpTic Gaming. There's Bound. And there goes a body for the first time. Frosty with the no-scope beat down, and expect a lot more of that from this POV.
What a way to start. And for Frosty and so many players this weekend, it feels like as two fall for OpTic Gaming, it feels like there's a new life for a lot of the best players in the game, just redefining themselves and what they are capable of in-game.
However, it's going to be an early triple cap actually coming in for Shopify Rebellion. There was a momentary 3 dead, and we will talk about 3 deads and how devastating they are, because that kind of thing can happen.
Frosty says, you keep the POV right here. I'm the one with the snipe. And he absolutely rips off Bound's face, who thought he was going to get away with a little bit of a C-plat jump.
Big win from Formal though, big confidence booster for the man who put this roster together. Winning those 1v1s, we're going to talk about it a lot throughout this series, because pivotal moments will be decided by pivotal battles. A and B in the control of Shopify Rebellion, but barely a point between the two teams.
Very good damage from that entire life from Formal. That'll pave the way for Renegade to clean up the scraps. They do find themselves with a momentary man advantage. We'll see if they can turn that into control. A starting to flip as well.
Royal 2 with the repulse bot middle means that he gets away from that battle without trading. Formal finds himself sacrificed by those frag grenades. Royal 2 shoots on the floor to get those shields down and take him down as well. OpTic will flip B, but you can see the ends of the map here. A and C control, but there's a really smart flank coming in from OpTic. Royal 2 going to fall into Formal once more. He picks up another kill.
3 dead. Cycle was the last player alive, so all the momentary lead there for Shopify will now be switched. OpTic Gaming takes the lead narrowly here, but very well timed 3 kills in succession paves the way for this hold.
One thing I loved about that from OpTic, the timing of it, right? The timing of that push onto A. The cap comes in, yes, but it felt like Shopify felt like they had an extra few seconds that OpTic didn't give them. A little bit caught off guard by the double push from the scoreboard side, and OpTic were able to get the kills, flip A, but again, it's OpTic who have the lead at this point. It's Shopify now try and transfer A back to their hold.
Legend waiting and baiting. He does have that QT back at Crane, so he will be able to disengage if he needs. However, with an AC hold, that QT at Crane's not going to be that much of a help. Kills traded out. 3 dead for OpTic Gaming. Their Shopify responds.
Perfect time to get those kills as well, because it means Frosty can collect that first camo of the game for him. And he should be able to deal with Formal, but Formal, a little bit of pole dancing from him means he caps A, and that forces Frosty back now to rotate to capture as well as look for these slays. He does have a little bit of help alongside him from Cycle, and that's going to be those kills picked up, and A flip back into the possession of Shopify Rebellion. Bound with some shots in the back of camo, but might have given his position away because they're 3 dead now. OpTic, 2 players just come off the respawn.
Yeah, Formal top tower here, and even though Bound is able to eagle eye, he should be able to now grab the camo, and luckily for OpTic Gaming, the camo will dissipate. Look at Frosty very wisely once again, starting to burn a little bit of ammo off the rip. Wants to make sure it does not go into their opponent's hands.
This is very interesting from Frosty. He's not even trying to take angles. He's burning ammo immediately while not being under pressure, and I think he's just saying, we think we can beat OpTic if there's no sniper on this map. We think that is such a massive swing for OpTic Gaming. We can get it done without it. And you can't really argue considering they're going for a triple cap right now.
Yeah, it's just really interesting risk management coming in from Shopify, right? They know that, sure, you can start to burn ammo once you're under pressure, but why not control all of the risk? Why not know exactly how many shots are left and make sure your opponent is not able to use any of it? And just like that, they're up 84 to 44.
OpTic do manage to make a play onto B, though. They will flip that into their control. A couple of kills will go in the way of OpTic. It is aggressive. This push across top middle. Formal will collect what's left of that sniper rifle. 4 bullets to work with. A little bit of pressure coming in on him, and it's going to be Last Shot who gets that kill on Dice and will be able to reset C.
Just like that, he gets picked off, tries to get a little bit of extra damage on Nestbridge here. Things are starting to get a little bit closer, but let's get to an early listen and hear how the comms are on Shopify Rebellion.
Yo, three watching the tires, backing up, tires. Yo, one's
Look right.
Yo, he's quantum hitting big door.
Yeah, going big door. I'm going cuts.
I'm getting shot from Camus one. Screens in an A. Screens in an A.
All you bet. Solo bet.
Yeah.
Big door.
Yo, man, we're going in. Yo, hey, Tommy to beat.
Camo 15.
Yo, one shot in vent. Two Tommy, A-plot.
Cuts.
Yo, camo guys.
Play. Pick up Tark 2.
Yo, big camo.
Yo, dice.
Yeah, Matt. Yo, it's scamming. Hit him 3 times. One shot.
Cuts down.
Go in, Matt. In,
For sure.
I'll go. Hit the screen.
I'll get one.
Screen. Get camo. All you pressing.
Okay, elbow now.
I'm going C. Yo, what's one? Cuts in small. Weak, guys. 3 shots. He's outside small. Nice.
Inside CB.
I've got still tires on me. Yo, can you live by?
Yeah,
there's a guy around wide. In B, weak.
Yo,
back B, watch out.
Pushing guys.
One got one in.
Back corner weak.
Watch out B. Watch out. Two there.
Watch out, the wing.
Light side, one guy getting it. 3. One guy. I got one more.
Well, out of listening, we need to talk about Bound. How did he just stay alive that long and didn't last shot? Regret not going for that kill.
Unbelievable. Vashot tries to engage Bound, gets into one shot and cuts, but Bound has a perfect little pre-nade off of C-Plat to just stay alive long enough. And not just that, they don't even trade out the camo. And as a result, it's OpTic Gaming with a trip cap during that listening, and then they maintain the AB hold. And now, just like that, in what feels like no time at all, they are leading 160 to 84.
And they're looking for the triple cap. It will be Shopify who should be able to flip A, but no, they're flying in. Bound will get the reset. On A, it's a triple cap here for OpTic Gaming, and look at where Formal is. He's up on the tower, and we've seen him hit this shot from this angle before.
It's still 3 dead. Cycle needs to make something happen here. He's got a little bit of help from Frosty. That sniper will not play. A few shots left in it. And Cycle makes it happen immediately. 2 shots left and connects with the first shot instantly. A lot of work to be done. All 3 of them flipping simultaneously.
Yeah, 3 dead for OpTic Gaming. That's why they can do exactly
triple.
that. And a triple
Simultaneous
gets reversed into a triple. Like you say, everybody from Shopify won their individual fights across the map, and all of them were around strongholds.
What a response from Shopify. That's unbelievable. Let's not forget, moments ago, Cycle was the only player alive in a 1v1 on tower, and they immediately flipped. So down by about 100 points right now, but the game is far from over.
Frosty pushing in to clean up the kill onto Bound, but immediately that's traded out as well. OpTic working on flipping C back into their control. It's 204 points to 112. It's a commanding lead here for OpTic Gaming, but they find themselves 3 dead, and Renegade finds himself as last alive.
Yeah, exactly. Last player alive here. We'll see what he does. He's going to try to hold tower. They do get 1 pick, which is going to even up the tide a little bit. They're trying to flush out tower, but easier said than done because Renegade is still alive at the tower. And Frosty's your only player alive for Shopify, which paves the way for a formal camo grab. Game in his hands right here. They're about to trip cap again.
That spawn is not nice for last shot. He just got absolutely melted, and it's a triple cap again here for OpTic Gaming. Formal with camo, Frosty in his sights. It's perfect shots from Formal. It's a perfect first game from OpTic Gaming. They will be up by 1 in your grand finals.
And how about that for a start for OpTic Gaming? We said that game number 1 was a swing game. Could go either way. Both teams undefeated. And OpTic Gaming makes quick work of Shopify Rebellion, taking game number 1.
Such an impressive run from them. That triple cap they had around the mid game and then towards the end game as well. That was where things got out of control for Shopify Rebellion. Looking across the statistics there, it's a very quiet game for Frosty. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that decision to waste the sniper ammo and the effect that had on the game. But here are your statistics. On the OpTic side, everybody breaking double digits. And Renegade the man again. He's led the way for OpTic, and he's leading the way again in the grand final. He is on a streak at the moment, 15-11 for him.
A lot of people have been saying that Renegade looks different than he has in quite some time in terms of the level of consistency and excellence that he's bringing into this tournament. And as you say, he picked up exactly where he left off. We'll take a look at some highlights from that game, but it was an early Shopify lead. When we got into that listen, and let's not forget, they were up not only by, I would say, 20, even 30 plus when we got into that listen. Tied around the 22 mark. They started to run away, but man, it was all OpTic Gaming during that listening and then thereafter as well.
Yeah, it certainly was. It's this triple cap that came in around, I think Shopify hit around 100 points, and then OpTic got control. There was a 3, a 4 dead, and off of the back of that, they were able to continually keep that triple cap locked in, cycling those spawns and managing to keep numbers on the map, whereas Shopify just couldn't spawn. This is the moment here you see 142 points on the board and another 4 dead situation that just occurred. 158 and rising, and you can see that Shopify, when they're spawning, everybody has an LOS. That's how well they were splitting those spawns. You've got multiple members of OpTic looking at you.
And even though we saw some really good pressure there, right, like we said, immediate response from Shopify to get their own trip cap in the game. OpTic Gaming just not slowing down whatsoever in the late game with really impressive late game composure to come out of that triple cap, making sure that Shopify does not put a rally on the board, and they ended 250 to 112 in game number 1, which sets us up for a rematch on Slayer Origin. As a reminder, it will be the 3rd time these two play this game type on LAN. It was a 50 to 44 win at the Kason Showdown. Game 7, by the way, that Shopify exited that tournament on. And then earlier this weekend, a 50 to 36 Shopify Rebellion win in the winner's bracket quarters. So it goes without saying that they have the statistical edge. The question is, what has OpTic done? We've been talking about their Slayers now for weeks. What have they done in the days since the opening of this tournament to make sure that they
Can be found here on Origin, and it's about not just recognizing that you can take them, but where you might be shot from as well. And Formal,
There it is.
start this game. There's creative use of the silvers. That's a double for him. Make it a triple. Grab that sniper rifle, and Formal goes to work.
What do we say? Control of those silvers, control of those angles. That way you can easily get in and out of fights. Formal right away puts it to use. 4-0 off the opening.
The very essence of a perfect opening strategy coming in from OpTic Gaming. Now the attention moves towards the Rockets, which are still up, I believe. Cycle has a little peek. Lets Formal know where he is and just waits for the pressure to come in.
Once again, look at exactly. Shopify goes to control the silver first before they push out to snipe. Keep an eye on that part of the map. Finally, they get shut down, and just like that, what was a 4-0 lead is now 5-3.
You can see Formal just not quite sure where he's getting shot from. That's what we talk about. Creative angles. Wow. Bound G sliding at max speed towards Royal 2 and gets the trade in a situation where honestly he had absolutely no right to.
Yeah, cuts down that distance so quickly. Now Formal trying to make the push. Not going to be easy, but stays alive even longer, trying to keep teammates alive as well. Getting really scrappy there in the back of the base. 10-7, still a 3-kill lead for OpTic Gaming.
2 dead for OpTic. Numbers on the map here for Shopify, trying to be aggressive. As the trade goes down at the bottom of the snipe tower. Rockets still up, by the way. Nobody's got their hands on those yet.
Got to be one of the longest times we've seen in competitive play, in official LAN play especially, that the Rockets would still be up, finally grabbed. And they will fall without one being fired. Still a 4-kill lead for OpTic. They've done well to hold this on and hold off Shopify.
And you can see the risk, right? You can see the risk in front of you. Frosty goes, I think I've got a timing window. I'm going to try and pause this. Not only does he die, but he falls by middle.
Boy.
Renegade collects them. And that's a double. It's the second triple of the game for OpTic Gaming. And this time it's Renegade who lights it up with 3 stars.
Oh my gosh, the discipline from Renegade. A Renegade of old
Cycle
tries to finish that battle. Cycle somehow comes out of nowhere through the maze and gets the kill, but you could just tell how disciplined Renegade is right now, because I think 99 times out of 100, Renegade from the past few years goes for that over. In the end, he has triggered discipline to try to let the team finish it. Still a 5-kill lead for OpTic Gaming. They look good here as we get closer to the mid-game.
One of the keys for OpTic and Slayers, we were talking about before this tournament even got underway, was not letting a lead be gathered on you, not letting it go 7 or 8, or having to crawl out of these tight holes that they find themselves in. And kind of, it's usually around the 20 to 30 mark, but at the moment they got to that mark with a lead intact, they're starting to win some fights. But as I say that, Frosty wins a fight of his own and takes on Legend 2.
Very good damage there. Legend, though, going to work with Renegade and Trench to make their way across the map. World 2 tries to cut it down, but Renegade with some beautiful shots from the disadvantageous angle to shut that one down as well. They still lead by 5.
Another 1v1 here. Somehow last shot
Always
gets the
with
stick.
the stick. His sticks are crazy, man.
That man's got one of the best sticky games in the game. Sniper rifle just dropped, by the way. Have to see where that has gone.
Big moment here.
Doesn't feel like it's in the hands of OpTic, as Formal will take a lot of damage from what you presume was a sniper rifle bullet.
World 2 picks up another one front base, which means Cycle now has the rocks. Doesn't see him
Check
yet.
your corners.
180s there on Renegade.
Gotta check your corners.
Getting a little nervous there, some vertigo as Legend just stays alive on the sneaky with only 2 shots left in the snipe. And you knew he was going to hit that one. His last shot's reloading on his way to the sneaky, which is going to give Legend way too much time to hit that. One more bullet left, and they still lead by quite a margin here. They've extended it to 6.
Everything went very slow motion there for last shot as he jumped up and saw Legend leaping towards him with that sniper in his hands. No more ammo to play with for the Frenchman though, but he's going to take a new angle towards top Rockets. And Formal is playing very, very sneaky on the elbow, waiting for damage to come in before he's in a flank in on these Shopify players.
OpTic OpTic doing so well to slow down. And as you say, also just stay in their pesky corners. 3 dead yet again. Last shot's the last player alive in grass. He will be flushed out immediately. It's a beautiful collapse without forfeiting any trades whatsoever here. They lead by 11.
I love the pace that OpTic are playing at as well. They are not letting Shopify settle on the map whatsoever. 36 to 25 is an 11 kill advantage for them at the moment. And I have to say, the second night, Shopify a little bit surprised at the pace at which OpTic have come out the gates here. They are flying at them.
Yeah, 10 kill lead here. And for a moment, Shopify was able to bring this game back within 3, but OpTic is just playing way too fast. They're just immediately engaging on the spawners, collapsing on the last player alive so consistently, and that's given them this 10 kill lead.
10 kills to go for OpTic to go 2 up in this series. Royal 2 will win his fight against Renegade. But it's 2 dead for Shopify once more, and moment by moment, kill by kill, they seem to be falling into the hands of OpTic Gaming. Formal, by the way, 16 and 8 at this point in the game. That is a monstrous line.
Lots of talk online about Formal's Slayer game, and I think he's silencing the critics without a doubt. Like you said, 16 and 8 to be double positive in a grand final like this is going to silence just a little bit of the chatter around this OpTic Gaming squad.
Well, if Shopify want to make a comeback, a lot of it is going to be on the shoulders of Frosty here. Has 2 rockets to work with. It's something for Shopify to get a pick, but that grenade from Bound out of nowhere takes down Royal 2, and now the mistakes are almost 0 for Shopify Rebellion to make the comeback in this game. Frosty finds 1, but Bound gets a trade onto Cycle, and now it's just 5 to go.
Not impossible, but man, would ever require a Herculean effort to bring this game back. Shopify could do it, but against an opponent like OpTic Gaming will not be easy. Blind fires the rocket, which will not connect and gets punished by a beautiful rocket bait from OpTic Gaming. 4 to go.
Royal 2 will find 1, but as you say, it's only 4 to go here. Formal hunting down some damage that's gone in bottom middle. But he finds himself now against last shot, and I tell you what, OpTic is starting to get cycled a little bit here. All of a sudden, this is a 7-kill game with OpTic on the respawn, on the back foot. Bound gets 1 though, which could be massive, just to make them comfortable. Legend flies in, shows no fear, grabs that sniper rifle, and now has the game in his hands.
Yeah, exactly. Two more kills to go here at the 49 mark. 1 more to go for OpTic.
Legend gonna try and line it up. Absolute beaut of a no-scope coming in from Legend. That's how you win games of Halo, and that is OpTic up by 2.
You get the feeling that that shot was more than just a 50th kill.
That gave me chills.
Full-body chills here as well, and how about Legend not even reacting? That might be even more terrifying than the shot itself. You've seen that man pop off many times before. Instead, he just hits that shot like a stone-cold assassin and gets ready to load into game number 3. That was a statement in every way. The entire way the game was played, stealing that game type after losing it twice on land, and then to hit that shot with that confidence on the BR and to not even say a word, it's terrifying. And OpTic Gaming look terrifying. They lead 2 to 0.
We got to talk about the pace that OpTic are playing at. It is different to what we've seen so far from them. It's showing a new gear. We'll take a look at the stats before we get into that conversation. On the OpTic side, we mentioned Formal 17 and 10 for Matthew Piper. Big performance in a Slayer. If he does that consistently for OpTic, OpTic are going to have a lot of success.
We already talked about how game 1 was a swing game. As we take a look at some highlights from that, as you said, unbelievably fast paced right away. Look at Formal, takes to the silver. What does he do? Picks up a double and a triple to open up the game. That set the tone for them. But for any Shopify Rebellion fans in the building, in the chat, you knew game 1 was a swing game, but you probably had your money on game number 2. Now as we look at the series layout, Shopify needs to start putting wins on the board. Otherwise, we're going to get deeper into the series where OpTic Gaming is just going to gain more and more momentum. Another triple from Renegade on your screen there.
Yeah, I think the big momentum swing in that game was, like you said, the first few seconds. 4 to 0 off the opening break, and on Origin, that means sniper rifle goes to you. That means the rockets you have access to. Eventually, it did take quite a while to get there, but it gives you the chance to build the lead, and that was what OpTic struggled with before. They always felt like they were chasing their tails a little bit, but now they're establishing some of these opening strategies. They're getting the better of Shopify, and from there, they can piece by piece build it up. That is absolutely disgusting. Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember SLG at Wembley? Did something very, very similar in Halo 5, that kind of shot. I think Strongside was casting that. Very similar kind of moment for another Frenchman, but that one from from Legend. It's just, like you say, it was a punctuation mark on what was a fantastic Slayer performance.
It really was, and I feel like if you're on the Shopify side, that game almost ends differently when you watch that either from a third person or on a death cam, when you see, or even, heaven forbid, from your own first person. That is just, like you said, it's a statement, and OpTic Gaming is coming into this. Let's not forget that not only had they lost this game type exclusively to Shopify, take a look at this one more time, which I think is only right. And look at this, Royal 2 on the beat. Doesn't
out of here.
Unbelievable. Just pops up, doesn't waste any time, and hits a fantastic shot to close out the game. But let's not forget, not only had they lost that game type exclusively to Shopify, they were 2-3 in that game type this weekend. That was not a winning game type for them. And if they're digging that deep, they're kind of suggesting, hey, whatever stats you might have in the back, we're not really interested in those. We're here to play 2 series of Halo and take a championship.
Now we get to see a game type which is going to really test both teams here, and it's certainly going to test Shopify Rebellion being down 2 in the series. We are heading into an oddball game on Recharge. There's a head-to-head of 2 of the players. You can see the statistic for yourself who have been the standouts when it comes to this game type for their respective teams. But I mean, for OpTic, they took a moment, stepped away from the stage there, maybe trying not to get caught up in the moment. Know that there's a long, long road ahead. They have done a great job to get 2 up, but 2 up means nothing. We've seen that on either side of the stage when these 2 teams play each other. They've got a long, long way to go.
They do indeed. We've seen many times before, like you said, we've seen reverse sweeps, we've seen big swings in series. There's a lot more to play, but Shopify certainly must be thinking, okay, we need to lock in right here because OpTic is bringing a different tier of gameplay, and I think it goes without saying that OpTic has looked not only the best that they have this weekend, but I would say in terms of all online qualifiers, the case on Showdown, and this entire tournament so far, they are playing at a pace that we maybe haven't seen them reach just yet.
For Shopify, the memories of beating OpTic a little bit earlier on maybe starting to fade. They realize they're in a series now as we head into game number 3. Oddball Recharge, first to 2 rounds. Will be the team who takes this game away, and if it's OpTic, they'll find themselves 1 game away from resetting the bracket here and sending us to a second best of 7.
Both teams with great records in this game type as well. It is identified, as we said earlier, as another swing game in the series, which really could go either way, and what a different series layout, as you allude to, we would have, depending on how this game goes. This one could tell us whether we're going to see a pretty quick first series or whether we might go the distance. Shopify needs to dig deep. They need to find something special now to get back into the series.
That's been what OpTic have been doing all weekend, digging deep, finding something special, finding a way to keep themselves alive. Well, now, boy, are they alive, and certainly this series is alive as well. This grand finals is alive. Legend, the man who no-scoped Shopify Rebellion into a 0-2 series, will be the first POV that we check out. Last shot inside of the tower now. Camo is going to be still available down bottom middle, as he's now turning his attention to keep his teammate alive side.
Very conservative start from both sides here. 2 do fall for Shopify, which means OpTic is probably going to try to go on this pressure, but once again, the kills are traded out perfectly 2-2, and there's no ball grab yet. Finally, it's a late camo grab, 36 seconds in. Very, very late, and that indicates to you just how conservative the opening was from both sides.
The timing on that grenade, by the way, from last shot was just superb. Made it look so easy. That internal timing we talk about was some of the best in the world. Oh! Speaking of which, Peekaboo! Formal's got the camo. It's going to be 4 dead for Shopify Rebellion. OpTic grabbed that oddball immediately.
We talked about how the teams have so much respect for one another. That's why you see a kind of dual conservative opening from both sides. But as soon as they get the camo, they pounce perfectly. Formal with a great route, great timing on the back wax. That's going to be early time for OpTic game.
Royal 2 manages to get through though. That grenade almost took down Frosty, by the way. The Formal threw up towards the ceiling cycle in the 1v1 versus Legend. It's going to be Renegade who joins that fight in and manages to clean him up. Oddball is down, but OpTic have that lead. And that means, like we said before, in these game types with an objective in mind, if you can take a lead, you control the game. You don't have to focus on that objective half as much as your opponents.
So much damage from Legend over the past 30 seconds. Just poking and peeking, and Frosty with a very well-placed green gun to make him retreat for just a second. And what a 1v1 between those two. In the end, last shot comes to help as well. And now 3 dead for OpTic Gaming.
The reset.
The reset is very unfortunate. That would have been an easy pull back to gold. Instead, the ball will go bottom middle. Now camo popping as well.
Camo's coming up. Look at the spawns as well. They're over at back blue. That reset is an absolute lifesaver for OpTic Gaming. If they spawn over at pipes, they're Shopify Rebellion. They can get that ball back into pipes. They've got time for the ball, but instead, they're forced to fight for the camo. OpTic don't have to worry about that oddball getting away for them as Renegade adds another triple kill to the collection. That's 2 in 2 games for him.
born to rack up time, forced to fight for camo. Unfortunate there for him. OpTic Gaming will continue scoring based off of all the chaos. They'll bring the ball bottom elevator.
Ball is down though, so Shopify don't let OpTic get it comfortably. And now you can see from the spread on the map and the way that Formal's playing, that Shopify have a setup in and around the elevator. Formal just waiting for damage. And now that the damage has come in, you would expect to see the likes of Bound, Legend flying in front of Formal. Clean up these kills. Royal 2 picks up one, but it's 3 dead. There's the break, there's the damage from Formal. It's played off of perfectly by OpTic Gaming. They break the setup from Shopify, and now they have that ball back in their hands.
Let's see what Renegade can do as well. They're going to be looking for opening damage. As you said, it was the easy 3 dead. Now we get to hear how they're going to hold here. Let's get to a listening with OpTic Gaming.
Ready, bottom here, I think I saw bottom here. Two.
Enemy has the ball.
Two. In beer. Let's do it. Below jump, camera jump. I got one. Yeah, no, turn right again. Respawn C plat. That's out one. Watch it, nothing's coming in 10, guys. Camo in 10. Just play for this count. You have shots on? Yeah, shot. Oh, yo, Bound has shot. Straight bound. Just try to get it. Put it on it. Watch the top tower. Two guys top tower. Two top tower. Ready, I have your chase one. Press C. Ready. C plat right now. Yes, C plat.
Yo, top tower, front tower, shot.
Bottom weak. Watch the C. That was 3. Yo, back to me. Nice, guys. Turn right. He's running A probably, yep. He's popped. I'm walking A.
Need to go.
Ready, they're gonna
Top tower, you got past you, man. He's C-plat.
Yeah, bottom turn run.
C-plat. Watch. He's taking his time. Yo, trippy.
Yeah, trippy. Two shots. Gold steps. We're here. We can go. Bottom here. I have to skip pipes. He's pipes now. Pipes going back to turbine. He's pipes now. He's pushing pipes. Good. Yes, combo.
One turn. Front tower cycle weak.
Yeah, I'm gonna separate. Go right. Check corners.
One shot, gold stairs, guys.
Once it goes combo.
One shot, go back up. Up gold stairs 1, John. Up gold stairs 1 right now. Gold stairs 1. He's combo.
Let's get pipes probably. Probably 100%. Spawning weird. Spawning C. Turn weak. Look at the tempo. Don't have to first. Nice, 3 dead. There's 50 seconds. Look at the time, guys. Look at the time. We're done the first.
One shot, roll 2.
Very weak.
Yo, single sack just sitting behind it. If it doesn't say that,
Well, enjoy this life from Renegade. Enjoy this round from OpTic. 38 seconds left in the round before they can close it out. And Shopify can't get near the oddball until now. They're starting to get desperate. But we need to talk about 2 lives in particular. Last one from Renegade, and then Bounds previously with that camo. So much damage, and the shots as crispy as you like.
Unbelievable damage, unbelievable movement. We'll have a little bit of time to talk about that shortly because as you heard Lunchbox say in the comms, only 20 seconds left. Amazing game management from OpTic Gaming. They're going to continue slaying here.
Last shot trying to fight, keep them off of Frosty here. That ball is down on the trippy corner. It's so difficult to access it. It's even more difficult with OpTic picking up kills on both Cycle and Royal 2. And now they get an LOS on that ball. Now they get a camo in the hands of Renegade as well. And it will be the first round of oddball here. On recharge, going to OpTic. Boy, they look up for this one.
And I think we could say they picked up exactly where they left off. Feels like they came straight from Origin, and they landed right here on recharge, playing the exact same way. That was once again a suffocating round, and it feels like that has really summed up how OpTic Gaming has played each of the games in this series so far. Such a clean round 1 win. We'll see if they can do it again.
Frosty wins his fight bomb middle. The camo is in his hands as well, and it's going to be 3 dead here for OpTic. Now Shopify need to get themselves together here. Need to dust themselves down because they've been battered, by OpTic Gaming in the first 2 games. And the first round here at Volcom. They need to find something, but no! When things just aren't going your way, you get a green gun in the backside from Renegade.
I think we're all thinking the same thing. Of course, with the benefit of observer view, there's a player coming gold stairs, and Frosty gets back there with camo and shock. And what could have been a pretty solid hole gets blown wide open. Formal does not get the trade against World 2, somehow stands strong top 8 and will continue holding the ball. So a rotate opportunity coming in here towards teammates.
Manages to just about make the cross. OpTic will have to wait. And it's going to be a lead here for Shopify Rebellion. Legend flies in. Play ball is going to happen. As the fight goes down at the back of the spirals, Last Shot versus Renegade, and Last Shot will start winning some fights. But as we always say, if you can get that play ball over by blue and you take a couple of kills down, the likelihood is you're going to spawn across the map of pipes and you can grab that odd ball, and that's exactly what OpTic tried to do there.
Important first kill. Also, Frosty gets the second kill, so this should be a clean break overall. They've made their way very difficultly across the entire map, but based on the spawns, it may be for nothing here. We'll see if Bound can spawn his teammates and hold down pipes.
Bound 13, make it 14 and 12 as he goes on a killing spree. And OpTic have that ball back at pipes, and OpTic looking like they're going to be able to turn this early advantage that Shopify had over. Last Shot, last alive, he's just fallen as well. And even though the odd ball is going to drop off, everybody from Shopify Rebellion is just coming off of the respawn screen. So Bound's going to move this one away from that LOS. He's going to get it back towards his respawning teammates, and OpTic will go into a lead.
Very nice rotate. Notice how he doesn't go gold. He immediately goes long haul to cut down the angles. Much less sight lines that he's vulnerable to, and he comes away with it. What a beautiful set of plays from him. It also paves the way for Renegade to grab camo as well. Renegade is 23 and 10.
Just let that sink in for a second. 23 and 10. And we're in the second round of oddball here with only 40 points on the board for OpTic. He gets the feeling another one hits. Perfect shots for Renegade. A killing spree for him. One for Bound, one for Renegade. Last Shot trying to fly into the pipes, but the oddball still being held by OpTic. 50 points on the board for them now.
I mean, look at the total slay numbers. It's suffocating is the only way to describe it. Amazing slay control and overall map control coming out of OpTic Gaming yet again. They find themselves 2 dead, but it's immediately tied up by a key kill from Renegade. He's now going to watch C-Plat.
Cycle's going to be flanking towards that oddball, so I wonder if it's going to be a game of get the slays before we get that oddball, but I think Shopify just starting to recognize that they need to get some time on the board here. And Cycle going to wrap this one away before playing it down bottom middle. Bound flies in, Cycle deals with him. Renegade now trying to clean up the damage, but recognizes there's multiple members and has to just escape and play his life.
Let's not forget, this one's far from over. Even though we've seen dominating play from OpTic Gaming so far, it's still just 55-25, a 30-point round. And anything can happen from here, but Shopify's going to need to find the ingredients that they need. Cycle, last player alive, he will be ready to play the ball momentarily.
One player that needs some more from is Frosty. We talked about him being an X factor. A lot of talk about him being the best in the game right now. He's 8 and 18 in this game number 3, and he's been relatively quiet throughout this series so far. So Frosty obviously has a lot more to give here for Shopify Rebellion, but it needs to be found sooner rather than later.
Yeah, there's still time for him to turn this game around, for the entire team to turn this game around, but I agree, a pretty rare stat line from him, especially with low OBJ on the board as well. You have the feeling that if he starts to turn things on, this game can get a lot closer.
OpTic still with this lead, 56-33. Forward knows that Cycle's close, but also wants to try and help out with some angles that he can hit with his shock rifle. Plenty of ammo to work with as well as he hits the reload. And OpTic just waiting for Shopify to make their move, and with the shock in their hand, they can do this, Andy. They can wait, and then they can hit strike.
Notice just baiting the ball there as well, not even trying to hold, or we're going to see if they can get the kills. Then they'll start to hold on a solid 3-4 deads. Ball will reset, no time there, but still a 20-point lead. Just over that for OpTic Gaming, 2 dead for them.
2 minutes on the game clock here. Shopify will grab that ball as OpTic will still have 2 dead. Cycle can be pushed here. Has to avoid that sticky grenade, manages to do so.
Ball dropped.
A lot of pressure on him with this shock rifle to hold down this pipes, look and keep his ball carrier alive. Formal's going to poke.
Oh boy.
Cycle's going to tease. Now he's going to slide out and look for more. Bound is pushing. Bound should be traded out in this situation. Cycle's done his job perfectly there.
2v2 for a second here, and where these next few kills fall will really determine if we're going to see Shopify get back into this. Good gold pressure though. It's going to give them an opportunity to try to get a grab, but with the ball still down batteries, Renegade's exactly where he needs to be.
Yeah, frustrating moments here. Shopify Rebellion, they're winning some fights. But Renegade's starting to win his even more. 29 and 15 is 3 dead for Shopify Rebellion. The oddball's still down on the batteries as the reset comes in, but OpTic don't have to worry about that. They have the lead. They could just pin Shopify back.
Even with 3 dead there, that ball sitting batteries meant that Shopify could not get time on the board. They're also still 2 dead. Risky push! A risky push solo there. Last Shot tries to make something happen, but it's going to continue to stagger their spawns even further. 63-36 with 108 left on the game clock.
How many perfects have we seen from the POVs of OpTic players in this game? You've seen them from Bound, you've seen them from Renegade, you've seen them from Legend, and of course you've seen them from Formal. Win your ones. That was the name of the game when Formal put this roster together, and that's exactly what they're doing.
1 minute remaining.
And it's Shopify who are reeling. Less than a minute left in this game. Camo burnt bottom middle, and Bound last alive.
Yeah, Renegade might have burned the camo, and also way past the 30 mark now. 30 bomb has been cleared, 31-17 with 47 seconds left on the clock.
Enemy.
Shopify needs to get that ball. To get it in their hands. Still time for them to play with here. Frosty picks up 2. Frosty trying to push on that long haul as well to keep OpTic trapped. So we're going to move this one back to the elevator. Renegade might have a little timing window here to fly towards him. But he gets taken down importantly here for Shopify Rebellion. And hold your horses. Last player alive is going to be taken down. It's everybody falling into the death screen here for OpTic, and there's life from Shopify.
It's a good trade from Legend, but is it enough? Bound's your first spawner, probably flying at this point. You see exactly where he is. Here comes the 4-man OpTic push. If Shopify can hold, they can force a round 3.
Well, Formal will get the first pick. Formal might get the second pick as well. Frosty is out of the game right now. Nowhere near his optical carrier. Last shot's trying to get in a position to play ball and does so. But there's only 12 points between the two teams, but 22 seconds is the problem, and Royal 2 being last alive is a bigger problem for Shopify Rebellion. It's a few moments left, and OpTic will be up by 3.
Good covering fire there from Formal to deny the Royal 2 exit from top 8. Here comes the Shopify push. It needs to happen. 10 seconds left in the round.
Has to happen now. Renegade though, Renegade, this is his game. He finds a kill that shuts it down. Cycle last alive. He can't get his hands on that ball, and OpTic are up by 3.
Renegade goes 34-18 in another decisive OpTic Gaming win. And if you've just joined us for the first time this weekend, you might be thinking, how on earth did OpTic Gaming lose that first series? How on earth did they have to fight through the elimination bracket all the way here with what they've brought on Championship Sunday? But guess what? The championship whites are on, and it is very clear it's a different OpTic Gaming that has arrived here in the OpTic arena. Final score 132-67 across the 2 rounds, and Shopify is shocked.
Shopify are shocked, Shopify are shook as we head towards CTF Fortress. Now we do mention that these series tend to go the distance, but it's a long way to go for Shopify Rebellion to do that. And we are looking, if this continues this pattern, like a bracket reset is going to come in almost what feels like record time for OpTic Gaming.
Man, taking a look at some of the highlights from that, it was once again a masterclass from OpTic Gaming. I think we saw some solid exchanges of play from the side of Shopify, but they have largely been silenced this entire series. And it's a completely different matchup between these two than we've seen all season in the preseason as well as Arlington so far. And we talked a lot, by the way, this from Renegade. It was just punishing everything we saw from his POV. He gets a double here as well. Everything we're seeing from OpTic Gaming looks to be flawless. They are not making any mistakes. That's why you're seeing the score lines that you're seeing. Make no mistake, these are blowout games. And Shopify, we talked all about how these teams are exchanging games back and forth so close. Guess what? OpTic Gaming's writing a different story here. This is not close.
Yeah, 250 to 112 first game, 50 to 41 second game, 2-0, and it felt like a big 2-0 in that oddball game. OpTic are dominating this series, and the way that they are shooting is so standout to me. And you're seeing some of those fights with bandits in hand. It's 5-shot max. That's how it feels at the moment. It's maximum damage output. And when Renegade is running around and everything seems to be kind of falling into the way that he wants the game to go, single kills turn into doubles for him. Then he gets involved in the next fight. Renegade playing like this means OpTic are playing like OpTic need to.
What I think is so tough as well, every time we're on Bound and Legends POV specifically, notice the G-slides that they're hitting, and the second they are in mid-slide, they're hitting not just the first shot, but all 5 shots to get it perfect while they're moving exactly where they need to be on the map. And man, is that ever impossible to play against if you're on the side of Shopify, even with the talent that they have. As we talked about on the desk, CTF Fortress, an opportunity for Shopify to get back in the series, not just because their backs are against the wall, but specifically, you heard Clutch talking about it. Fortress, one of Shopify's best maps. They've been putting up numbers on this game type, and OpTic comes in with a losing record on this game type. Shopify needs to take a breath, find a way back into this series. If they want to win the finals here, they will now need to reverse sweep the first grand final with 4 straight wins in a row.
OpTic 1 game away from resetting the bracket in our grand final, sending us to a second best of 7. Capture the flag on Fortress is where we find ourselves, and we are going to see some headshots. 2 sniper rifles on the map, and of course that overshield down bottom middle as well. And this is almost the perfect playground to see if OpTic can close out now, or is there going to be something in this for Shopify? Are they going to find their stride here? We have to. It would be rude not to. It would be disrespectful not to start off watching Renegade.
This is going to be an absolute blender here with 2 snipers in play with a map this size. 2 flags on the board. It could be a quick one, or we could see quite a lot of gameplay here. Kills exchanged each side, 3v3 on the map, but Renegade doing some early damage here. 2 dead for Shopify.
Well, 2 somehow staying alive in that situation. However, to keep that sniper rifle in his hand. Somehow peeks back out and hits the shot. It's 2v2 on the map at the moment, but look how far up the map Bound finds himself right now. The confidence we are seeing from Bound. We know he loves a challenge. We know he likes to take the fight, but he's hitting the shots as well. And Legend now says, remember me from Origin? I can do it on any map.
Bound and Legend are hitting a certain amount of damage efficiency that is scary to watch. And I think anyone that's played or watched enough Halo Infinite knows exactly what we're talking about when we say that. Just not wasting any time, any frames, as they move across the map and deal damage all at the same time. 2 dead, however, for OpTic Gaming at the moment.
Let's get taken down, though. There's going to be a snipe picked up, and there was OpTic members falling all around. So pressure on their base is going to be coming in. You see Frosty flying in. He gets the trade. It's 3 dead here for OpTic Gaming. Bound is last player alive. He's down bottom middle. Somehow managed to get the kill. An important one as well. Room 2 cannot find him. Wow. Finally
Look at this
does.
from Bound.
Look at the damage he's taken. Oh.
Bound kind of reminiscent there of what we saw a lot last season from the entire SSG roster. When there's a 1 player alive, guess what? There's a whole lot still to deal with, and Bound not only gets... Oh! I can't even finish the sentence before I talk about his 3rd kill. Gets a kill bottom middle, deals the damage, then picks up a 3rd kill. That's what I'm talking about. Just because Bound is the last player alive does not mean your problems are solved. In fact, actually, you have a whole nother slew of problems, and Bound reminding us of that.
From being last alive here, Bound finds 1 kill, stays alive, does damage, comes back out, no-scopes another player, and then, all of a sudden, Shopify Rebellion are 3 dead. Overshield now, coming up bottom middle. Shopify Rebellion in a good spot, but it's going to be stolen away. Legend,
No!
is he going to pop it?
Almost. That would have been...
Almost, but not quite. But last shot does pop it. And Shopify is starting to move that flag as well.
Talk about almost being robbed blind, highway robbery. It was 3 dead for OpTic Gaming, and now you're overshielded. Last shot's going to get this across the sideline. Still with a lot of overshield to play with nice little slides all the way back. 4 players alive, but he should have the timing here, especially with the overshield. Goes wide, actually. Flag's going to be away, so he has to wait.
Love that timing window recognition there from last shot. Knew that even though there was a couple of players coming off respawn, that he had the shields to deal with the bullets that would be coming his way. But like you say,
Look at Legend.
flags are away. Take shot trying to hunt him down. It will be a trade inside of the base from Frosty. First time we've seen a flag standoff in quite some time.
Yeah. And this is a high-stakes flag standoff because you already get the feeling that if OpTic Gaming wins this flag standoff with the way that they tend to play objective game types, they will play the most obnoxious, annoying, control-based rest of the match. 3 dead here for Shopify. Cycle last player alive.
Where's that flag? Cycle is near that flag. He's trying to get
boy.
some spawns, but is there anyone close enough to help Cycle with the situation? Bound flies in. Bound with another killing spree. He's going to go for that return. Formal with the sniper cross map, and OpTic should be able to send this one home, but can they cap?
Should be able to. Flags right there on the stand. Going to delay for just a second. Formal once he gets the shields, you know he's not going to waste time. Roll 2 though in a 1v1.
Formal bodies him. Formal now under pressure. 2 dead on either side. It's last shot who stands on that flag, trying to force this return. OpTic can't cap quite yet.
Last shot forced to the bottom of the base. There's going to be a touch here from Renegade. He gets the cap indeed. Last shot could not fight off the players that are dropping on him. And OpTic Gaming, they stay cool. They stay collected. They get the flag in. They now lead 1-0 in what could be the series winning. Renegade not done yet.
Renegade is on another planet today. Last shot last alive once again here for Shopify Rebellion, and Formal will not need to be asked twice to start moving that flag.
How about Bound, a casual triple positive right now at 12-4. Just another day's work for Bound. 3 dead, World 2, your only player alive. Formal's gonna hit the slides to bottom mid.
Here comes the second one. Formal's moving. Formal schmoving, and that flag is back inside of his base.
It?
It's going to be 2-0 as Formal gives us an exhibition of how to run a flag here on Fortress.
OpTic Gaming saving the best for Championship Sunday. 2-0 here. Quick work, one flag away from 4-0ing Shopify Rebellion in the first grand final.
Another kill goes the way of OpTic Gaming. Cycle does manage to trade out, but it's a numbers advantage momentarily for OpTic as they get equaled out by the end of the sentence 2v2. Shopify need a snipe. They need an overshield. They need something to go their way here.
Once again, Bound and Legend are not even, it feels like in every battle, they're not even getting down a shot, let alone losing battles. So difficult to challenge them with the way that they're playing. And I think the numbers tell the story here. 12 kills for Bound, 10 for Legend.
Now maybe thought he could get the better of Frosty there with a cheeky little re-peek, but the grenade from Frosty was good. And OpTic again earned the right to play slower inside of their base. The repulse comes in from Royal 2, but the damage still superior on the side of Formal. Cycle's going to push him. Royal 2 finds one under the base, and all of a sudden OpTic just under a little bit of pressure here. They're 2 dead. That's 3 dead, and is this the little window of opportunity for Shopify Rebellion to get something going? The flank is away.
Frosty's on time in with some initial good shots as well, and they get the help. And I was just about to say before that flag was pulled, this one's not over just yet. With 6 minutes left, Shopify Rebellion on the board, only down trailing by 1 flag.
On the board and controlling ring. Now Overshield's about to come up as well. Legend tries to fly to cause some problems. Cycle on the jungle gym manages to find himself an opportunity to get that flag back, but the Overshield did go to Frosty. It's 2 dead here for OpTic. There's a sniper in his hands, and Royal 2 is running that flag as well.
Numbers still on their side here. They get another kill, and they might even get the kill A1. If they do, this flag will be guaranteed home free. It's still 2 dead. Big shot, though. Coming in from Legend.
Legend gets 2! Legend might get 3! The triple kill from Legend! The Frenchman is going nuts!
What did we say? You cannot leave a single player from Shopify. You cannot forget about a single player on OpTic Gaming. And Legend goes huge, a triple kill to stop the flag run.
Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous from Sabri. No right to get one of those kills, let alone all 3. It's going to be 3 dead. And Frosty, probably a little bit shell-shocked.
Unbelievable stop there. Still a lot of time on the clock, but plays like that are really going to be morale hits there, as Shopify thought they were home free, and Legend picks up a triple kill, and it's still 3 dead. Cycle, last player alive bottom base.
And he's no shields as well. He gets cleaned up. 2 snipers in the hands of OpTic Gaming. They get the return, but now the worry for Shopify is with that chance falling through their fingers. What can they do against this onslaught from OpTic?
Every time it feels like Shopify can take an inch, it feels like a player on OpTic steps up and hits an unbelievable shot, if not 3. Formal gonna hold here. Gonna hold down this elbow angle.
I mean, Shopify can't get out of their base at the moment. Cycle gonna challenge as a body into trade as Renegade will clean up the damage. Shopify 2 dead once again. Now Royal 2 has overextended here. But it looks like OpTic know where he is. Renegade's gonna try and hunt him down. OpTic do get that toss of the flag out of the base, but the position of Royal 2 is making OpTic think twice about this.
You can tell once again, everything's gonna slow down. So much on this flag and so much on this overshield. Renegade should be able to get it for free, and he does. Kills traded out initially.
Frosty does some really good damage to that overshield. Now he's been a nuisance. But Renegade will hunt him down and use that advantage in the shields to win that battle. It's 3 dead for OpTic, and I tell you what, Shopify have got that flag out once again. Now, is there anyone in position to do something
big
similar to what we saw Legend do a few moments ago? I'm not so sure this time, but look, the overextension's coming. Formal somehow got this flag running for OpTic.
It was 4 dead. Somehow Formal pulls that flag all the way to Arches. I cannot believe it. We'll see what Bound can do to stay alive in Cave.
And all of a sudden, both flags 50% of the way across the map. Frosty will be able to get this return by the looks of things, even though Formal will get that kill, and all of a sudden they get the return, they win the standoff, and we have a game on our hands here. It's 2-2 with just over 3 minutes left.
My God, high stakes. Sudden death, of course, and a lot riding on this flag. More than just the game, the entire series riding on this flag. Shopify has rallied back after trailing 2-0 and found a way to tie the game. 3 minutes left here in regulation.
Formal with a sniper in his hands. Last shot, almost with a bullet in his visor. Just managed to step away and slide to his left. to keep himself alive. 2 dead here for OpTic. It's Shopify who are starting to win some battles now, Andy.
Let's see what Formal can do. He knows he has you can tell by the way he's angling and isolating these sight lines. He knows he needs to get the right damage, ideally a pick, to help his spawning teammates make sure they can push out.
Scary moments for OpTic. You can tell they're just a little bit worried about the pressure that's starting to be applied by Shopify. In the back of the base, you have to hit shots. If you lose these fights in the back of the base, that flag is away. Big. Legend finds one off the body. Shot coming in from Formal. Shopify is starting to swarm though. Overshield coming up in a few moments time. Formal, the patience starting to pay off though. There's one player flanking through the snipe side. I'm not sure if he knows. Cycle's going to challenge. Frosty's got a sniper rifle elsewhere. Formal just trying desperately to stay alive. Royal 2 finds another. Cycle going to challenge. It's 3 dead for OpTic. It's 3 dead again.
Most importantly, there should be an overshield in the hands of Shopify on this push as well.
Royal 2's got it.
This is big here. They got 2 dead again. Royal 2 still has some overshield to play with. They're going to start running this flag, and they have the damage they need. Oh!
Frosty! Frosty gets 2, and now he runs at the remaining members of Shopify Rebellion. That flag is not running, though.
The run is so staggered. The run is so staggered despite the fact they got the kills. Finally, they're running it here. They have some angles here. Formal's going to overextend.
Bounce the player, though. Bounce the player to watch. He's overextended here. He comes back through the arches and manages to slow this run down. It's 2 dead for Shopify Rebellion. Legend, maybe not just thinking about getting some kills and stopping the flag, maybe thinking countercap.
Oh, the flag is still out, though. Let's see if that flag returns. Top mid.
Royal 2. Royal 2!
Royal 2 gets the touch!
Royal 2 gets the touch at the last possible second. And Legend finds himself having to go hero mode again.
2 dead, though. Flag standoff here. Flag is now down ring 1. And you have the Shopify flag down here on the porch.
I mentioned the overextension from Bound. Well, that stopped the initial run. That was why it was so staggered. And now we're seeing the counter pull coming in from Bound. 2 dead for Shopify Rebellion. Bound gets another one. It's 3 dead for Shopify Rebellion. Frosty trying to fight forward.
Flag is returned. Frosty's going to get taken down. Flag is back here. They should have the home stretch.
Bound is going to run this one the safe way. He runs out into the base with Royal 2 now. Puts pressure on, but it's Formal. Who else but Formal? Who grabs that flag? Who runs it home? OpTic have reset the bracket here. We go again. Here in Arlington, 4-0. They sweep aside Shopify.
Just when you felt like Shopify was going to put together a last-ditch effort and maybe take a game, OpTic Gaming shuts it down. Absolute carnage in those last few Slayer exchanges for all those flags. We saw multiple flag standoffs. But once again, it's OpTic Gaming that see through the smoke. Identify what they need to do, get an unbelievable return. By the way, Royal 2 running flag with overshield with 3 dead, and somehow OpTic Gaming off the respawn find a way to prevent that flag from being ran. It sat right next to the repulse there, next to ring 1, for far too long. It felt like Shopify had everything they needed, the timing, the overshield, and the run. Instead, it's OpTic Gaming that gets much more than just the game-winning flag. They get the first grand final. It's a 4-0 win. It's almost an immeasurable amount of momentum. And they reset the bracket here for a second best of 7.
I think if you were to ask, and I'm including the OpTic fans respectfully in this conversation and in this question, what do you expect to see in this grand final? What do you think the score is going to be? I don't think many of them would have said 4-0.
Right. Even the boldest of OpTic fans.
Exactly.
I don't even think OpTic would have said 4-0.
That's what we see in front of us, though. And it's a 4-0. Those first 3 games aren't close at the top level. They are dominant performances. Then we see the steel that has been on display all weekend long from OpTic Gaming in that game 4 to close it out.
Also, how about Legend?
That triple?
Legend last player alive, and he gets a triple kill to stop the flag run.
Immeasurable impact on that game.
Unreal. We'll take a look at the stats in just a second. I think Bound led the team in the kills category. Just top to bottom, amazing from OpTic Gaming. And that game itself had everything to be a 2-0 game as we take a look at some of the highlights that would then go 2-2. I'm excited to watch this because, man, that felt like an absolute saga of gameplay. And Legend and Bound, they were heating up early. It felt like it was going to be a very quick game. Instead, Shopify let this one go, to a fantastic rally, but wow. Just what a game 4, and I'm blown away by what we saw from both sides.
I mean, even this return here, look, Legend plays that corner, gets the kill, keeps Bound alive. Like, all of these little moments start to stack up. And there was something kind of, it almost felt like the script writers were out. It was Formal who runs that final flag in, right? Just marches towards that capture point to get that final one on the board. OpTic up by 2. You have to give Shopify a lot of credit for the way they fought back in that game. A lot of teams would have just capitulated and thought, you know what, let's think about next series. That series is gone.
Here it is, Legend. Look, stops the flag run, hits the brainer, no scope for the double, and this, not easy. Has to hit the perfect triple to stop that run, and does exactly that.
It's generational talent. That's all you can say about Legend. Those kind of plays are almost instinctive, right? It's just individual brilliance that leads to OpTic staying alive in the game. It could have been very, very different at that point. Formal starts getting involved as well. He's like, that looks fun. I'm going to have a few quick scopes go my way. But when it's all said and done here, bro.
Look at this one. Excuse me, Formal gets brained as well. There's 2 players to A1. How does this flag not go back? How does OpTic stop this? On paper, that flag is gone. And somehow they find a way. And that's what OpTic has brought to Championship Sunday. And as you said, poetic that it's Formal, who assembled this roster for one reason. You got to be careful whether you have a camera or not. That OpTic pit, the green wall's getting dangerous. And they are hyped. And for good reason. The series layout tells the story. It is a clean 4-0 from OpTic Gaming to send us to a second best-of-7.
Just unbelievable. Unbelievable from OpTic Gaming. It's something that nobody really saw coming. But Shopify Rebellion, they've got to take a deep breath, the deepest of breaths. They did win, of course, that winner's bracket matchup, which means they have a chance to still be crowned champions. Now, obviously, after the K-Sun invitation, there was a lot of conversation about winner's bracket advantages and the format there. Well, OpTic Gaming will be happy, of course, just to be still in this final with an opportunity now with one more best of 7 to turn things around, to call themselves champ. This is the triple kill, though. It is just, I mean, firstly, great work from the production team in the back to show us that in slow motion, to show the level of ability, skill, and presence on the map that Legend had in that moment.
How about only Cycle going positive and barely positive by 3 kills? Everyone else being shut down on the side of Shopify.
Look at Frosty stats. It says everything you need to, right? It's Frosty has not had a presence, not had an impact on this series as yet. Certainly didn't have it on that one, but this is a new one coming up, and he will want more than anyone to turn those stats around.
And I know the desk is going to be ready to break it down. I know we were saying we shouldn't look at the second best of 7 just yet. Turns out it was a good idea.
You're welcome to.
And I tell you what, we're going to have a lot of time to talk about it later. I'm sure the desk is also going to talk about it, but OpTic fans are going to be very happy about the layout here in terms of where we've seen game type records, when we've already seen these teams play these 2 game types. Game type records here in Arlington. And I think that's going to give our friends on the desk quite a lot to talk about. Lottie, take it away and get us ready for the second set.
Thank you so much, Bravo and Onset. You're right, we have an awful lot to discuss here on the desk. Wow. I mean, there was only one story in that series, and it was OpTic Gaming all over every single page, the blurb, everything. The chapters were just the unfolding of OpTic Gaming and the unraveling of Shopify Rebellion. Wes, I mean, it didn't look too promising until that final map that we just saw in the series. We saw a little bit more life out of Shopify Rebellion, but it was all OpTic Gaming. You mentioned how on fire they were and that you can kind of see another series coming our way. And that was for one reason, momentum. They had so much momentum heading into that. And my goodness, they did not slow down whatsoever. What did you make of OpTic's gameplay there?
Yeah, this is what I was worried about. This is an on-fire OpTic team coming from the elimination bracket all the way back from round 1. We keep saying it. But this is a product and a result of everything that they've gone through this weekend. Shopify were not able to catch their ground. I thought it was going to be Origin Slayer, but the second they fell behind early in Origin, they kept trying to play catch up, and OpTic kept their foot on the gas pedal the entire time. Once that game went out of their direction, and this went 2-0 to OpTic, I knew the series was over. It was a matter of what time. How fast are they going to end it? Fortress CTF map that we know Shopify is the best in the world at. They still lose that. It was scrappy, and there were so many plays made to really determine the very end of that game and go into OpTic's favor. But you got to worry for Shopify. The hotter this OpTic team is continuing to get, the harder it's going to be to stop it.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I said along with you, like that. This journey so far to get into the grand finals has been absolutely amazing for OpTic. They look better and better, but Here in the grand finals, they hit a flow state. They hit a level that's been even beyond what we've seen so far in this tournament and so far what we've seen in this year. The way OpTic are playing right now, they may be your champions here in the first major of 2025. That was scary.
No, incredibly scary. I don't know how you stop that. And I think maybe the only way you do stop that and kind of interrupt that flow state to cancel it out is by having a game type in the next series that is going to cause them a lot of chaos, something that they don't love. And let's take